Let's bring together all we have learnt about search so far into a full search of the IBSS database in support of our topic and question, the rebuilding of Greater Russia, Putin's foreign policy towards the CIS countries. Using the search tools and commands previously referred to, we can complete a search in support of our question topic. As we will see a little later on, Section 4 of the Search Strategy tool is designed to replicate the search panels found in most academic search subject databases. As a rule, enter one concept per panel. Therefore, Concept 1, or Greater Russia, would occupy the first search panel. Concept 2, Vladimir Putin, would be put into the second search panel. For each concept, use the search tools that you have been previously introduced to make your search as wide as you possibly can. So these include our Boolean operators and or not, and parentheses, and truncation and phrase searching tools. It's probably a good idea to cut and paste your search into a text editor, for example Windows Notepad, so that you can easily cut and paste your search directly into a database. Remember, the objective of your search at this stage is to make it as wide as you possibly can. Let's see how all this relates to the IBSS database. For our first concept, or Greater Russia, let's cut and paste from our text editor all of the alternative keywords and phrases and put them into the first search panel of the IBSS database interface. So we now have our first concept in the first search panel. Now let's add our second concept, or Vladimir Putin, and put that into the second search panel. We can see here that we've now run out of search panels to put our searches in, but we can simply add another row by clicking on the link here. So we can now add our third concept, which is foreign policy or foreign relations. So if I put this into the third panel, and finally we'll enter the fourth concept into the final panel. By combining the concepts in each of the different panels with the AND command, we should start to bring back some results that are much more relevant to our topic question, the rebuilding of Greater Russia, Putin's foreign policy towards the CIS countries. Before we do, let's remind ourselves of some of the limits that we have set to this question, which are laid out in Section 5 of the Search Strategy tool. For example, within our results, we want to find articles that are peer-reviewed from about the last 14 to 15 years and that have a strong Russian and CIS focus. Let's incorporate these limits into our database search by using the IBSS filters. So before we hit return for our search, we can limit everything that we find here to peer-reviewed articles. If I scroll down and now hit search, we can see that this has brought back 3,300 results. And again, we can see straight away there's some useful ones to make use of. We can also enter a date range. So for example, here we were looking at the last 14 to 15 years. So we can enter maybe 2003 to 2017 and hit update. And these changes will now be incorporated into the database, making our results a little more focused still. There are other filters that we can make use of as well. If we scroll down, this is very similar to how you would search Amazon or eBay. So I could maybe look for everything that's in the English language, So if I select that filter, and also there are some subject filters that we can use as well. So if I use this drop down here and select the more options, I can begin to filter some of the subject terms that I might find useful. So for example, international relations, foreign policy, maybe even national security. So if I scroll through some of these, we can maybe select presidents, possibly diplomacy, political power, political alliances, any term or subject term that you think will be useful to the topic or question in hand. So again, we can maybe look at some of the minority and ethnic groups and just scroll down further. We'll leave it at that to be getting on with. So if we now hit apply, we can now see that brings our results down to a much more manageable 500. We could still go further with some of our subject terms to restrict, but we can see here now that we have some useful results that have come back that are pretty much related to the topic in question that we're looking at.